Ow! It's like Steve Carell and Anchorman. Or not Anchorman, Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Bruce Almighty. All right, ready?
Bruce Jane. All right, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? I'm Joey.
And I'm Dylan.
And we're White and Rice.
Yeah, that's right. We're a couple of guys who love films, all things film, and talking about them.
It's all of our own opinion, though, so please don't get triggered.
Yeah, opinions are still legal. We can talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about, and we're going to do it right here on this show because it's ours.
That's fucking right.
We got a great one to talk about
We
today.
do have a great one. The Joker. All right, everyone. So, The Joker. New movie came out with Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Phoenix. Anyway, fantastic film. Just gonna say that right away. But just a little intro of the movie. If you don't follow comic books, DC Universe, so on and so forth. Basically, this is a one-off, and the reason it's a one-off, they're most likely, hopefully.
Don't speak too soon.
That's the intention. It's a single movie. That's all it will ever be. There's not going to be a sequel. That's the intention. And it's about the origin of the Joker. Now, the Joker, one of the great facts about the Joker, a lot of people like, especially in the Dark Knight series, is that you don't really know the origin.
Who am I? I don't know.
Of the Joker. There's a lot of mystery behind it. Specifically with Heath Ledger's, he constantly makes up different stories about how he got the scars and stuff. And there's something to be said about leaving mystery to a character of their backstory, where they came from, so on and so forth. They did a fantastic job. It's basically about the origin of the Joker, how he came to be a psychotic, apathetic, insane criminal. And I guess before we get into review, I would just like to say thank God that DC failed so many times because it gave us this.
Yeah, my initial take with this movie is going into the theater, there was a lot of people saying this movie's really great, but then a lot of people saying, oh, it was too slow for me, or little gripes here and there. So I wasn't really sure what to expect. I figured it would be like, an origin story where it's not all about the action, it's more about the character development. And I will just say, before we get into reviews, one of my favorite movies I've seen this year. Joaquin Phoenix absolutely crushes it. We've seen some excellent Jokers
Phenomenal.
in years past, and his acting is unbelievable. I think Joaquin Phoenix always just been a stand-up actor.
Yeah. And
this is, I think, a role of a lifetime for him. One of my favorite internet pieces of content that I've seen was that meme with Jared Leto and like all the other Jokers.
Yeah.
I sent that to you, right? Where they're like laughing at him, and it's like Jared Leto is because he's
the damaged one.
Yeah, he's the damaged one. But Joaquin Phoenix was, in a lot of ways, maybe the perfect one. He definitely embodied psychosis and mental illness in a way that is just so seemingly real.
The great part, so to delve more into that, the great part about this Joker is that in this movie is you can interpret it how you would like. Yeah. And what I mean by that is I've heard some people say, well, this is kind of like this is Heath Ledger's Joker, but before, like the origin of Heath Ledger's Joker, which I could see that totally. Or it could be completely different. Not necessarily completely, but yeah, Joaquin Phoenix knocked it out of the park. And it's amazing that he did so because Heath Ledger's Joker is one of the best. He is.
Yeah.
I'm getting chills right now because he's just so good, and he embodied that character so well. And to be able to create a new, distinct Joker and have it be just as good, if not better, some people would say, I don't want to pick favorites, is so difficult. But they did it so well in this movie, and it was in part because of Joaquin Phoenix's acting, and in part of certain characteristics they gave the Joker, specifically his laugh, which we don't want to get into just yet. You'll find out more, but
I think, like you said, it's great that DC gave us so much bullshit because a phoenix has risen from the ashes. This is a film that I really think might be walking into the Oscars.
Damn it.
Those jokes were almost as corny as
Nice.
Joey's outfit. Anyway, I want to start off with the only thing that wasn't awesome for me about this movie. And Joey, I know that you have an opinion about this, so we'll talk about that for a little bit. The one thing that I wasn't totally convinced about is the Joker's character, Arthur Fletcher.
Are we getting into spoilers?
No.
Okay.
No. Arthur Fletcher he didn't. I mean, the representation of his mental illness was incredible. The way he interacted and engaged with other characters obviously showed that he was not a stable person.
Correct,
and could
yeah.
snap. And the whole movie is about him getting pushed closer and closer to the edge. And I'm about to break. But the thing that was really missing for me was the cunning intelligence that leads him to becoming one of the most insanely smart villains in all of the DC universe. So I'm curious to hear your take on this because we haven't talked about it, and that was the one thing that I wasn't convinced about in the movie.
Right. And I've seen that in other reviews, people talking about that.
I'm the first one to say it.
Of course, yes, obviously. I don't know how to get into that without a potential spoiler. I would say, without spoilers...
Well, do you want to shelf it and get into that when we go into the more spoiler review?
Yeah, I'd say that's a very viable concern or critique, but...
Well, stay tuned, folks, for Joey's hot take.
Yeah,
because I do have one more thing that I was going to say before
Okay.
we get into anything more juicy, which is that, and this is not a spoiler, since we're so specific about when we talk about that shit. But anyway, I thought they very gracefully integrated Arthur Fletcher, who becomes the Joker, his story with the world that the Wayne family created, without making it all about Batman and Joker and Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
It was there's enough of a little sprinkling of the Wayne family and their
Of
presence
Gotham,
in Gotham.
that universe.
And also bringing in Arkham Hospital, which becomes Arkham Asylum.
Yep.
All of that was done so tastefully, and it's one of the things about a good movie is when they take material from the universe and they use it properly, and they just did that so well in this, and I loved that.
Yeah. Another thing is, just hearkening back to Joaquin Phoenix's acting and how amazing it was. First off, he is incredibly skinny. I don't know if that was CGI or not.
Oh no, that was all real, dude. His body was fucked,
dude.
Straight
Yeah, it was
awful.
insane, and so that added to the kind of gangliness of the Joker. He's always been kind of tall and gangly, and
his physical motion is a huge part of the character.
Again, yeah, that's another thing is.
But I think Heath Ledger may have coined that, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. But this is a different style, and the physical acting was superb. And they actually show a clip of Charlie Chaplin in there, who obviously is known for physical comedy, physical acting.
It was a good homage.
That was a little correlation there, and someone that we know mentioned that even if there was no sound in the movie, you could tell what was going on, and you would still be able to connect with that character because of the physical attributes, whether it was his appearance or the way he moved and danced and so on, and the dancing added to his insanity as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And it was a team effort because the cinematography captured his motion in the best way possible. I mean, this movie is a great example of they cast this perfectly. The cinematography is excellent. The sound, the music, it all comes together really well, and I think tells an extremely compelling story of a dude who's just fucked, man.
Yeah. So before we get into spoilers, just gonna say this was a home run for me. I mean, there's small things that you can point out and pick at. You're like, well, that's kind of why'd they do that?
But very few.
Very few.
I mean, maybe this movie has close to no little things where it's okay, but that's not realistic, which I also think is a dumb way to look at a movie. When people are complaining about what's real or not, it's dude, it's a fucking movie.
Especially a comic book movie.
But this movie, I mean, really just, they did a very, very good job with it. The costumes were super, super great. Much better than what we have displayed here.
Son of a bitch.
His final costume with like the red suit and the colors are really cool. The way they have the colors portrayed in certain shots, where some shots there's like a lot of red, white, and blue, and I think that like showcase like some sort of there's definitely like some social conflict with like the system and politics and the man and money. Classism, clash of the class. So anyway, let's get into some deeper shit here.
Okay, spoilers.
Spoiler time.
Spoilers coming up here. Let me look at my notes. So already addressed the use of body language and physical acting. Going into that, what made his Joker so unique was his laugh. Mm-hmm. And you hear it in the trailers, but there's an actual, as we all know, as you probably have seen it since you're watching this, is the excuse for the laugh, which was a mental illness or condition, basically, which potentially is caused by the beating of him when he was a younger kid.
Correct.
But that was great because you have to have a distinct laugh for the Joker. You just have to if you're doing a new Joker, right? So you have to. So how do you get that? And do you just have the ha-ha, like the crazy laugh? Like, it's like, okay, I guess someone could do that.
They put like a reason behind it, though.
But yeah, this gave it a reason and really strengthened the fact that he's had such a shit life. Absolute shit life. Mm-hmm. And then it was also his going into his personality and how he just doesn't understand humor. Like when he was at the stand-up show,
Correct.
He was laughing at all the wrong parts, and he's taking notes in his freaking psychotic little journal with, pictures of nude chicks, stuff like that. So excellent there. I think the progression of insanity was spot on. Just the slow descent, then all of a sudden, boom.
And I think that one of the major parts about that is he never understood why he laughed out. I mean, he has a condition where he cannot control his laughter, and it's typically brought on during emotional states he's in that are negative.
Right.
So if he's sad or if he's anxious or people are giving him a hard time, he'll start laughing out of control. And what's so interesting is as the movie goes on, he actually starts to assign why he's laughing. And he's saying, my life isn't he says life is a comedy.
Right.
And he's seeing that these negative things that he responds to with laughter are actually funny to him, even though it's like death and misery and anxiety and stress.
And that plays into his insanity right there.
Correct. So I think that it's really cool how they brought in that element to his character and they developed his character around it and how it changes throughout the progression of the movie based on the circumstances that are shown in the movie.
So addressing your previous critique of
lack of intelligence,
lack of
cunning intelligence,
lack of a criminal mastermind. The guy who's the arch nemesis of Batman, right?
And always outsmarts Batman.
Exactly.
So
has to be because he's obviously not physically, Anyway, we all know that. I would say, and they didn't show it, but in what I choose to believe in this movie is that the pills held him back. And that's what I didn't want to get into, is that he eventually went off his pills. And as everyone knows, if you're all fucking drugged up all the time, you're not going to be your normal self, right?
And he definitely was more lucid in the part of the movie where he stops taking.
More lucid, more convicted, more radical, more insane. Mm-hmm. And he just, as the pills wore off, he just went step by step, and then eventually just sprinting towards insanity, towards violence. He kills the chick and her daughter, we assume.
Wait,
kills.
Did that happen?
Yeah, when he walked down the hallway, there was blood. All his footsteps were bloody. He killed him.
Oh, I honestly may have been in a bathroom break at that point.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
So, that's what I choose to believe, because they don't give enough to say, no, that's not the case. So why would you not believe that, obviously, upon the third act and everything that happens with him and how he becomes the Joker, obviously he was able to, I guess, mastermind the execution of the talk show host, Robert De Niro, all these things. And then he, at the end, sees the following that he has now and I just choose to believe that off those pills, he was able to be his true self, his psychotic self, but the criminal mastermind.
I think that's a great point. I will say that that's having to dig a little bit deep to get to the bottom of that one, but
at the same time,
yeah,
we all know who Joker is and the character.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think it's safe to assume that there you go.
Yeah, it just, for me, felt like there's a little bit of a gap between what they established as his final form at the end of the Joker and then what we see as, the full-fledged Joker in other Batman movies.
I think, yeah.
But I think, like, what you're saying is reasonable, that, being his full untethered self without, the subdued mental state of, taking... He was on, 7 or 9 medications?
Right.
So when you take that away, maybe his brain really can...
And they showed him as awkward and, like you said, sometimes unintelligent or aloof or, awkward. He brings that gun to the children's hospital, stuff like that, and drops it, all this stuff. And, maybe that's just to show that, he wasn't himself. He wasn't truly himself, which is the fucking serial killer, psychotic, criminal mastermind. And by going off of the drugs and submitting and succumbing to his natural desires of just inflicting pain and chaos and having apathy for everyone and everything, that turns him into that. So anyway, one of the things had an issue with, and people have talked about this, is the reveal that the girl, his love interest, was never there. It was perfect when he's in the apartment and she goes, You're that guy from down the hall, Arthur, right? Yeah. That right there, enough. That's enough. The audience immediately knows, like, oh fuck, that's not good. So she was never there, but then they had to show it. You didn't need that.
Wait, what do you mean show it? The killing part?
No, they showed all the instances where we've seen her with him.
Oh,
without her.
To just affirm.
Like, it's more exposition. It's like, no, we're intelligent enough that we don't need that.
So yeah. I feel like, that was 15 seconds of exposition.
It's not horrible, like I said, but it's also just not necessary. Like, I get it.
I hear that. I think that's potentially a little bit overly critical. I think it's fair to say that.
Doesn't break the bank or anything like that.
Yeah, it was definitely an incredible reveal. That was one of the parts of the movie, and I'd say that's kind of the beginning of the third act, or maybe it's about the beginning of the third act, and it's really showing the breakdown of Arthur Fletcher becoming the Joker. Is it Fletcher?
No, I think it's some
Peck?
Pinky Peck or
Pleck?
something.
Plick?
Yeah,
Arthur, whatever. His name's Arthur. It's showing that transitionary state, and it's exposing how much of it's exposing his delusion, essentially.
Also informing us that, oh shit, he's way more insane than we thought he was at this moment in time.
Because you're totally swinging for him the whole time in the movie. You're like, oh man, you really feel for this dude, and then you just start to see that he is totally off his rocker. I thought that they did a good job of that. I didn't mind that. I thought the affirmation was good because it just is showcasing how emotionally involved he was becoming in something that was not actually happening, which was a love interest. And I actually think that they mentioned this in the red letter thing, that they thought it was unrealistic that some chick would just fall for him.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt in the movie.
Yeah.
When he starts to have this connection with a girl.
So confused.
And I'm like, I was like, okay, I'm enjoying this movie, but that seems a little tacky to put in a love interest. That's totally unrealistic.
Yeah.
And then when they show that was his delusion, I was like,
perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Thank you.
Fucking great.
It's like when Deadpool went back and erased all memories of the shitty X-Men movies and Deadpool and stuff like that. It's like, thank you very much. I was scared for a while, and you made it better.
This movie for me. When The Dark Knight came out, that felt like such a maturation of superhero movies. It went more dark. It also it went a little bit more into a world of realism rather than big monsters and the Green Goblin and shit like that.
CGI.
Yeah, and it went more into Christopher Nolan really took that into a more real spot, and I feel like the Joker has now done that. We've seen all these crazy massive CGI Marvel movies, and then the Joker comes out and it's just this is just a fucking good movie. So it feels like a maturation of a series that's typically relied on explosions and CGI, and gone in a direction that is focusing on incredible acting, incredible writing, great world building, but still using the world of superheroes and villains, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I think the part where he met Bruce Wayne and then like grabbed him and made him smile, I was like, okay, no kid would do that. No one would let that kid do it. But none of that really freaking matters because the movie was so good. It was the movie we deserved. Definitely.
Yeah, no, it's. I think it's the perfect origin story for a villain. I think Joey's probably right in saying that this will be a one-off. I think that it would be very respectful to the character and the viewers to just leave it.
I don't want it to be, because I would love to see...
I want more.
I would love to see that Joker become the criminal mastermind and go against Bruce Wayne and all that stuff, but the fact of the matter is, it could just go downhill so fast if they do that.
Yeah, agreed. Anyway, I think that's it for us.
Yeah.
Go see Joker. See it in theaters twice, honestly. It's a legendary movie. I think this will be iconic for superhero movies, action movies. It's going to be a turning point in film for sure.
For the rest of time.
For the rest of time. Okay, bye!
Bye!